having appeared in a completely unknown area. Abel asks aloud if his companions are okay, and being behind him, the girls confirm that everything is in order. Then Abel confirms Harold is fine. Harold says they ended up elsewhere. Meanwhile, Clip and much of the expedition lands somewhere different, away from the others. And everyone is disoriented by the sudden teleportation. Clip asks them to check the surroundings, because since they don't know this area, they have to be extremely careful. When one of them asks what happened, he assumes they were teleported and therefore prioritizes discovering this location as soon as possible. Also, he thinks the portal likely caused it. The theory was that the Great Tide monsters came from beyond level 38 of the dungeon, but it seems they were mistaken. It's possible that this is all the work of the portal. He thinks that even so, this could still be impressive, because finding what drives the Great Tide and ditching the old theory would be a truly matchless result. Then, with such information, Cliff Staples will be able to be promoted to department head without any problems. One of his subordinates points out something he has noticed in the distance, a suspicious silhouette. Meanwhile, Natalie is still confused that the readings have disappeared. Suddenly, the device shows the expedition team on floor 40, but seconds later the signal disappears again. Then a man enters the shop, asks who's in charge, and one of them answers. Hearing that, he introduces himself as Christopher Blatt, envoy sent by the king. There he asks them to inform him if anything unusual occurred inside the dungeon, as those who entered have disappeared. They entered with hired local adventurers, but as they crossed the threshold, they vanished before eyes. They indicate that the readings disappeared and the signal from a few moments ago indicated that they are on the 40th floor. This worries Blatt quite a bit as it is too deep. After all, no adventurer has ever surpassed level 38, and beyond level 30 is already tough for B-level adventurers. They tell him Bloody Sword, a D-rank loon party, escorted the expedition and may be with them. So Blatt alerts the Adventurers Guild, expecting the guild master to show up soon, so he can personally explain what happened. Natalie doesn't take it well that Bloody Sword is among those involved, but suddenly an idea occurs to her, which leads her to leave the tent in a hurry without explaining to anyone. Quickly, Nina informs him that the dungeon research team has disappeared and that Dean Christopher from the University of Magic has requested that he go to the entrance. After thinking about it for a bit, he says he's on his way and asks him to prepare the staff to meet at the dungeon's meeting point. But he doesn't want the adventurers to find out. He'll explain to them once he knows more about what happened. Not because he's bad. Returning to Rio, he keeps pacing around the library, unable to find what he needs to research. And just when he's thinking about how much she would help him with this, she appears to greet him. He is immediately happy to see her and tells her that he wanted to check the records of past eclipses and great tides, but he has no idea where to look. Once she gets it, she agrees to help, since she happens to know where they are now, on the way. Syrah asks if eclipse is linked to the Great Tide, to which he replies that it's a feeling he has. She confirms that there was an eclipse 2 days before the monsters emerged, and in his opinion, he believes his theory about the relationship between the two events is correct. The truth is that eclipses always occur before the Great Tide, but before, they were never total eclipses like last time. Still, she's looked into this, so she wants to know how he reached that conclusion exactly. Rio repeats that it's a feeling he had, hiding the detail that he faced Akuma during a full eclipse, which is something he clearly cannot reveal. He changes the subject, asking if she knows what makes a magic stone shift tone. Syrah simply accepts this and replies that the longer a monster lives, the more intense its color becomes. Rio says a friend had told him before, so he was curious about the Great Tide monster's color. It turns out they had pale colors, but it would make more sense if their colors were more intense, as they would be long-standing monsters that had come to the surface. So Syrah figures monsters appeared recently. He adds there were goblins, goblin generals, even a goblin king too. It's also strange that they appear so suddenly with that hierarchy. Besides that, if they were created artificially, it would require too much energy. Sira tells him that she knew about the pale colors of the Great Tide monsters, as there were records of this peculiarity in the past, but the records were in poor condition and pages were missing, so not even the librarians knew the full story. In short, it's information that hasn't been made public, and due to Rio's interest in the subject, she readily agrees to show him said records. Returning to the expedition group, Harold tells Abel that the feeling from a moment ago was like when he teleported in a western dungeon, then asks if the equipment works normally. His men confirm that it is, as the device's wind magic continues to work without fail, which makes it possible for the surface team to communicate with them and send them their position at all times. Lin thinks they can even bring help, but Harold is not very convinced by that idea and seems worried about the air in this place. So he asks Ridja if it doesn't remind her of anything. After analyzing the environment, she replies that this is like the closed sanctuary, the exclusive spell of high-level priests, a flawless defensive spell, deemed a divine miracle, said to block any physical or magical attack ever made. And since this place reminds him of that, it means they are trapped inside some kind of barrier, and it must be huge if they are unable to detect its limits. Too much text. Too much text. Abel asks Lin to use probe magic. See if anything appears. She tells him there are humans about 500 meters out, nearly 1,000 nearby at that range, plus 50 life forms she can't identify. So Harold figures Clip and his team are here too. Abel says head that way. They should link up fast without wasting time again. By now, Yu reaches the shop to talk with Vlad and the others. They report the expedition team was spotted on level 40 for seconds. It doesn't improve his mood at all, as he is aware that not even all the adventurers in the city could get that far. So he has no way of sending them help. Vlad points out that they also don't know why they disappeared like that, and neither he nor his subordinates can intervene in these circumstances. Yu doesn't criticize him for that, and since they can't do anything about it, he prays for them to be safe wherever they are. This is when we are shown what is happening on Klep's side. A large number of the group's members are being hit by powerful offensive magic. Many mages raise barriers, but some members can't escape the sudden, unexpected assault and are hit before they react. None of them know the monsters that are attacking them, but when Klep manages to get a good look at one, he confirms that they are demons. Although he had never seen one, the description fits. Many of the adventurers go directly towards them to attack. The demons respond by possessing powerful magic and soldiers with better combat skills. This causes them to be wiped out at great speed. When Abel and the others arrive at the place, they are surprised by the chaos that has formed in such a short time. Ridja identifies their attackers as demons, enemies of the gods and angels, life forms immune to magic and stronger than humans. Harold asks them to leave the theories for later and instructs his men to perform a pincer attack. Returning to Klip, he is still trying to resist the attacks with his magic barrier and wonders what the demons are doing here. Suddenly, mages hurl strong attack spells at demons. Though immune, they still take heavy damage. Ridja is shocked. Magic shouldn't work on them. Harold says that was never actually confirmed, so it may be just rumor. It makes sense that 3 teams sharing one goal can breach a demon's defenses. The moment he senses them closing in, he orders the second wave to start now. Though they hold the demons back, he fears it's too much for them. It's only a matter of time before he runs out of mana. Abel then notices one in the rear that seems to be the leader. Harold warns the 4th wave is their last. They're out of firepower, so they can't keep shooting anymore. Abel opts for hand-to-hand and heads to the front with Warren. The group rushes ahead non-stop. Warren shields him from magic attacks, holding his shield raised. Along the route, they start defeating nearby demons, coordinating as a team to fight them in an orderly way. Seeing it, Harold understands the Crimson Source fate. All seems fine. Then Lin suddenly collapses, utterly spent. Ridja asks Warren to cover her. She's out of mana, and they're out of potions. Abel worries, noting only 6 remain now. Ridja warns him the leader may be a demon prince. Then she tells him to watch the eyes. They say that's a key trait closely. Abel thinks he's a Dark Lord before power wakes, and she agrees, saying it's an immature form. of which only 4 exist at a time, where only one will be the Dark Lord. She also tells him that not even heroes have ever managed to defeat one. Hearing that, Abel says he will try to defeat the demons surrounding the prince, as there is a possibility they can break the barrier and that will save him. Before chasing them, he recalls it felt worse facing that griffin, so he's more confident about what comes next now. Then he takes on the demons, one by one, but after downing a few foes, the demon prince hurls attack magic at Warren, blasting him and the girls backward together hard. Seeing this, Abel assumes the demon prince wants a one-on-one, so he pulled him from the others. On guard, the demon prince suddenly appears before him, moving at unnatural speed. Yet Abel's reflexes still barely let him block the blow. Still, he knows it's too fast and strong to beat. Suddenly, out of nowhere, the demon prince is struck by Clip's attack magic. When the dust clears, everyone sees he's unharmed. It makes them think this dog is truly magic-proof. After all spells fail, seconds later, the rest of the demons fire a large number of magical projectiles at those who are far away, managing to destroy their barriers and forcing them to retreat. Here we see how Clip and his group can't withstand this damage and are engulfed by the flames. Warren does his best to protect Lynn and Ridja, while she worries about Abel. Then the demon prince charges into melee again, and Abel instantly answers with a null spin sword technique to stop him. Next, he parries the demon prince's strike, twists in close, and slides his sword's edge toward the prince's throat. But even at full speed, the demon prince steps back at the last second, avoiding contact, performing a counterattack that hits Abel hard. Numb with pain and unable to react, he apologizes to Ridja, as the demon prince prepares to end his life. Before it happens, the ceiling collapses, and Rio slowly descends from above. Seeing Abel, he says he came to save him and never thought he'd find him near death for this. Harold asks who it is, but he's far, so nobody answers. As if nothing, Rio tells them to return. Many are worried. Seeing the demon prince, he tells Abel he'll handle him. After listening, he tells him he's a demon prince. Rio realizes he's the Dark Lord's son, so he asks him to quit joking at a moment like this. Right now, please. He doubts the Dark Lord's offspring could be that weak. After hearing him, Abel says a demon prince is a Dark Lord in training, so they're extremely strong. Understanding that, Rio figures he's his son, so that's why he's weak. Abel, as expected, asks what the hell he's talking about anyway. But without responding to that, Rio counters the common demon's magical attacks using Icicle Lance, all while continuing to walk directly towards them. Following that, he uses Water Jet, thereby creating a bubble of water behind the demons, which shoots water with enormous pressure in a horizontal line, slicing each one in two with great ease. Abel is stunned by what he sees. He could defeat them instantly, with zero effort, easily. Finally, Rio steps in front of the demon prince. Noticing his look, he says he's fed up with everyone staring at him that way. The demon prince grips his sword tighter, and in response, Rio unsheathes his sword to get on guard as well, announcing that it's better to get this over with, while maintaining a calm smile.